Hello friends, and here is the karma reading. I'm still testing. I still don't know if I'm going to keep this reading, so if you like it you have to say something, or I will save myself about 30 hours of work and kind of like just continue with my other monthlies. I really think like we are getting through quite a bit. I have modified the spread a little bit this time in order to be a little bit more efficient. So let's start with just like telling you that there are still some specials going on. If you guys want your reading, like you're going to get it sort of like one level up. So instead of like regular 2 to 3 weeks wait, I am kind of like dishing it out in a week, and if for some reason I'm a little bit late, you get a little bit more time added to it. And if you really want a rush, which before it was 7 days, now you get it in 3 days, and urgent was 3 days before, now pretty much you're getting within 24 hours. Then if you're in North America, you're getting, if it's done between 2 p.m. then you're getting it the same day. Also guys, the X spread is on kind of like looks like permanent special, and one special that many of you already asked me about is really coming up, and is going to be 2019 annual scope. And for those of you who enjoy 2018 scope, please come on my website cattarot.ca and put yourself on a mailing list, because I'm going to be letting you know this pre-order price of $19.99 per sign or $39.99 for all signs is basically going to last only maybe 3 weeks, and is going to probably be enclosed in the monthly reading, which is kind of like coming in about a few days. And take advantage of it, because otherwise it's kind of like jumping up to $29.99 and $59.99. Okay, so let's go to where we have to be. You see, I was not that long. I'm reading this with Kipper, and I'm reading this with Cosmic Tarot. This is kind of like giving me a good combination. And I actually told you that I have sort of like simplified this, because I find this, I mean, you knew that the spread was like just like I'm in work in progress. So now I want to see what is dark, what is light in the situation. These are significators, they are the same in every reading, and they are simply just like sort of like the areas that I really want to explore. The reasons behind the situation, the guidance, and what are the karmic basically lessons that we actually need to learn in all of that. So let's start, guys. Hello Cancers, and welcome to your October, early November twin flame reading. Just keep in mind that this is general, so hence just check your ascendant and check your moon sign. Below in the description you're going to find the info how to do that. Check your natal chart, is going to be a link if you need to do it. If you're checking for somebody else, just check their Mars sign. Trust me, it's going to tell you quite a bit. So let's start. And I don't know like which sign had it. Was it was like either Aries or Taurus? They had Judgment reversed as well. This like is something, oh my gosh, did they have the same thing? I'm like so stunned with this, like just like the energy went through me. You see, the Judgment here is really talking about kind of like waking up, right? It's kind of like karma that needs to kind of like be worked out. So here is like really talking about something that is false, something that is hidden, right? Because this is like to me always a card of past lives. And I mean, twin flames, we do chase each other throughout life after life. It could be century after century after century, right? So they're like really saying, like in Buddhism, I believe, if you want to know what you were in a past life, look in the mirror. So like looks like it's something has coming in the being that has been basically here from the past, and sort of like that immortal energy, that twin flame energy has been kind of like generalized, right? And this is kind of like getting reversed, and it's still not kind of like reaching this full potential where it kind of like karma is resolved, like kind of like the transformation and atonement and judgment, right? This is like really telling, well, we really need to kind of like forgive, or we need to repent, whatever it was. This also could be telling me that kind of like it's the end of the road. Like there is like the theory that twin flames separate from the same soul and they find themselves coming back. Also below in the description it's a little bit more about twin flames, kind of like if you are kind of like not sure if your kind of flame is a twin flame, check it out below. Now this is really telling me that this is kind of like the end of the road, because my experience with twin flames is like not that, well, we separate, we split, and we are coming back together. No, because there is like expansion and there's like so much bigger thing to kind of come back. Sometimes, like, I mean, they kind of like continue splitting themselves because they have accumulated so much basically knowledge. It is clearly, and we are going to see when we come here, you see it is like King of Cups. In this particular deck is Cancer. So this is really calling for you to release something or somebody. It seems to be this like last string that is like holding you to the past, or it is one of the strings that is still holding you in some kind of direction. It is clearly telling you that's a false person, and something has been happening in order to push you to that level, right? So at some point, like in order for, you know, each flame to divide further and to kind of like generate new opportunities, that is kind of like really needed. So let's see what is coming in the open this month. And we have this 10 of Cups. It's a very unusual card for 10 of Cups. And we have message of concern. So what is she kind of like doing? She's kind of like checking all these cups, and even if you look at her, she doesn't seem to be, I don't know, that enthusiastic about where she is. I mean, definitely there is your element, you know, 10 of Cups. Cups is a water element, and it's kind of like something that you'll really feel comfort in, right? So here there is this like woman sitting in a complete, like, I mean, wilderness, right? And she's almost kind of like lost in the kind of like languor of the mood, and she kind of like has a head cover that somehow is like almost creating, I don't know, a tent, and she's being protected against the elements, and like we are seeing all these like kind of cups pouring over. So she kind of like feels to be very satisfied. There's like nothing more to do. 10 also means completion, and 10 cups mean emotional fulfillment or resolution, right? So I really think, guys, you need to realize that there was like a journey that you have been going on for quite a long time, who knows how many centuries, and there is like the end of the road. And you know, sometimes the satisfaction doesn't feel that kind of like great. It just it feels like, oh, that was it, and like now I'm coming to the end of the road. Like this is kind of like really interesting that I'm getting here message of concern, and this kind of like keeps telling me that there is like something that you still need to kind of like let go of, right? Because like there is like some kind of like inconvenient truth. Maybe this is like not what you want to hear right now, right? Because it's almost like depressing that you got there. It's like, it's the feeling when you finish high school. You love it, but you also, oh no, my friends, I have spent so many hours with my friends, and now I'm going to go in a different city, or we're not going to be that close, right? So there is like that bittersweet kind of like feeling over here, but you're certainly going to be coming to that understanding this particular month that, hey, you know what, like, I mean, you're releasing, not only you releasing them, they're also able to release you, and that freedom is kind of like able to kind of like push you forward. Let's see the reasons behind that. Reasons: 4 of Cups and 12 of Labor. Something between the two of you got really hard. Like you see, this 4 of Cups has this like these lotuses closed, and lotuses in the Eastern basically philosophy is the same as roses are in the Western. It kind of like talks about this beauty and expansion. Like 4 of Cups generally talks about somebody's dissatisfaction, or somebody maybe even kind of like being bored, or missing maybe the opportunity that basically is presented. Sorry guys, so there will be interruptions, and I really feel that interruptions are really important. For example, I just received a call on Skype, and now they're trying to telemarket on Skype because I don't know what the rules are in your country. In Canada, like really strict rules, like with huge hefty fines up to $1 million if you kind of like keep bothering people. So I don't just read cards. I kind of like really go and tap into my intuition. And I mean, cards for me are guidelines, but the intuition is really important, right? Because I was just about to say, because like 38 is like 3 and 1 is 11. You're getting that 11 energy, and 11 is the healing energy. 11 is like something that really got hard, right? Because here we are like talking about some kind of like youth, and it's one of those things. Look, he has the castle, he has a horse, he has wine, he has fruits. What the heck, nothing is really missing. But also his life is not very challenging, right? And it looks like that his needs are not met by others, right? So I guess they're like some kind of like offers that are on the table. A horse, I guess, offers adventure to travel, and the lotuses are just like sort of like that voyage inside, kind of like that we kind of do. But he kind of like is lost in his kind of like ennui, his kind of like boredom in the situation. It's kind of like, you know, where you don't really set a goal, and like no matter what kind of like shows up, it's kind of like not right for you. It's like somebody who is taking their privileges for granted. So maybe just like got to the point that you are really trying for that reunion with your twin flame, and maybe you met, and it kind of like the person didn't really understand the significance, and that you were chasing them through centuries, and maybe they were just completely spoiled, and that really didn't want to work on it, and it really got hard. But because the card is an 11, it kind of like told me that there was a lesson for you, that you really needed to kind of like reach this energy and reach this understanding. It's not only healing. 11 is like Aquarian energy. 11s really talk about kind of like psychic abilities. So it looks like your soul got a little bit more advanced than your twin flame soul. So what basically the twin flame would have to do, it just needs to kind of like work, because not both of them didn't really kind of like go and move forward with the same intensity, kind of like a thing. Then we here have the guidance, and you have 4 wands, and you have a concern. Look at that, another master number, 33, interestingly enough. So like with 2 4s is really talking that this is going to be sort of like grounding and stabilizing month over here. It's almost like there is like this what they call it, arabesque pose, I believe, and it's like the dancer is almost like echoing kind of like the movements of the bird over here, right? And you know, there are like also 4 flowers that we actually see kind of like growing over here. So you know, I really think this is like talking about earthy foundation, and kind of like it's sort of like that we need to kind of like earn our wings, sort of a thing. Because like generally 4 wands are like talking about the next stage, next level, kind of like going somewhere. I guess you're hesitating to go in this direction. You kind of like are still kind of looking back, which I see this in this Judgment card, instead of really moving it forward, which is kind of like really called for over here. This is like kind of like also connecting to physical activity and possibly insecurity. There's like a definitely need to ground yourself. And if you have been dealing with somebody who has been kind of like hard to decipher, and you really didn't know what to make out of some kind of like interaction, then it's kind of like really important for you to understand that, you know, it happened for a reason, and that reason is like something that you are really cluing in this particular month. So you're looking in a karma segment, adjudication and King of Cups. And even though this is really like talking about the couple, it's almost like universal karma. Like, look at this. It's also karma card, judgment and judication. And the 3 is the number of creation, of creativity. And this is kind of like really, really important. That there is like some kind of like special, kind of like, as I said, is either repentance or forgiveness that really, really has to happen. And honestly, I see that this is like something that you need to dedicate to yourself, because you're coming through, unless you're dating another Cancer, right? This is kind of like really, really important, because Cancer is the most fluid of all the water signs. It's kind of like ruled by the moon. So Cancer, basically, you guys represent the matrix of emotional life, and sort of like those indefinable feelings that usually we call it intuitive or subconscious, right? So that's why you guys also kind of rule emotional sensitivity. But sometimes, you know, it's because you're sensitive, like people don't understand that you're still very strong and that you still have control. And like this is kind of like coming to yourself, stepping in this kind of like big shoes, right? Because like kind of like the Cancer is called a child of the moon, right? It can be very kind of like protective, and maybe like, you know, you went too far. Maybe you wanted to kind of like protect someone. Maybe you kind of like felt that this is supposed to kind of like continue, but this person was always playing some kind of games and dealing with this. Keep remembering, guys, that you are basically the noblest and kindest of people when you're allowed to express that full dignity, right? So it's kind of like the time where this like human heart, the kind of like all this kind of like questions that we have, it's kind of like going to start cluing in about separation from kind of like friendship and romantic love, and also like when it's like time to kind of like just let go. And it's kind of like one of those things that this really, really is putting you on a pedestal over here. I almost like feel there is like going to be some kind of like a creative motion where you're going to look, he's looking in the future, he's kind of like looking in a different kind of like direction. Here she was like kind of like looking to the past, and hey, you know, I kind of accomplished this, I'm kind of like concerned. Maybe you guys are perfectionists and a little bit too much of go-getter, that you're like maybe wondering if you really accomplished as much as you could have. So this is possibility. I know this is like, oh my gosh, we are now getting together with my twin flame. But twin flames are always about learning. That's what I said. Check the description. It's always about mirroring. That's why if you see my kind of like the thumbnail, it does show a mirror. It's a mirror of a soul, because twin flames mirror us. But what happens when one pushes forward and another one isn't, and one is developed and developing, so it's ready to kind of like branch out, and the other one isn't? This is what's happening. So it's really showing completely two different attitudes. It looks like this is them, it looks like this is you. Somebody's ready to open their arms and fly, and somebody just like really doesn't know what basically to do and how to work on certain things are just getting hard. Well, the best things in life are not that easy, right? We need to kind of like fight for them. And like the lesson here was like really to kind of like really come to this like self-esteem and self-understanding. So my dear Cancer, I really hope this helps. And as I said, please check your ascendant and check your moon sign. More about twin flames below. And also to get your private reading, which kind of like only targets your energy, visit me at cattarot.ca. Thanks guys, and until the next time, you know that I love you. All the best.